Okay, ma'am. We'll start now.
Okay,
Hello,
ma'am.
everyone. Good evening, and I welcome you all on behalf of OYG. And I'm Janvi C, studying third year BNYS from Government Nature Cure and Yoga Medical College. And today our guest is Dr. Asha. So she'll be shedding light on efficiency of dietary trends on management of cardiovascular diseases and diabetes. So to give a short intro of her, Dr. Asha has obtained her BNYS degree from SBSA University and also obtained MSc in cardiovascular science and diabetes from University of Aberdeen, and now currently she's working in London and also as a freelance acupuncturist. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Janvi. Thank you for your introduction. So I'm going to talk about the diet, which is my main topic in my master's project. So can I just ask you if my slides are visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. So the topic of our topic of our discussion today is there any proper healthy diet for cardiovascular disease and diabetes mellitus? And before answering the question, we would just, I'm not going to, when I mean cardiovascular disease, I would be only discussing about cardiovascular disorder, which includes mainly atherosclerosis and metabolic syndrome diseases like hypertension and hypercholesterolemia. And this doesn't include any congenital disorders like any blood disorders or genetic heart problems. So briefly trying to understand the relationship. Sorry.
I request all participants to mute the audio with the disturbance.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry for the disturbance.
Yeah, maybe it would be good if if others would like to mute their phones. That would be a better option, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
If
Everyone,
you guys want to ask any questions, we'll keep the question session in the last 15 minutes. I think that.
Yes, ma'am, that would be great. And if you have any question, you can put up in the chat box and she'll be addressing that later.
Yes, that would be also good.
Sure.
So, trying to understand the relationship between diabetes and cardiovascular disease. If you are a diabetic person, you have 50% more risk of having cardiovascular disease when you compared to general population. These are all the research stats up to date. So, and there are in the diabetic population, 80% of the people die because of heart failure, which shows the importance of how diabetic population are easily affected by coronary artery disease. And also there are other factors like overweight and obesity, which are an important part of the metabolic syndrome. 20% of if you're overweight, you have 20% of more risk of getting diabetes mellitus. And if you're obese, we do know the difference between overweight and obesity, right? It's like grading system of your BMI. If you're obese person, you have 40% more chance of getting both hypertension and diabetes mellitus. And trying to further understand the risk factors affecting diabetes and cardiovascular disease. So these all are the risk factors affecting diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. As in, if you have high blood pressure, how does it affect in getting diabetes? So what happens in high blood pressure? If you have high blood pressure, there's thickening of your arteries, which also affects the blood flow to your heart. And in diabetes, because of the insulin sensitivity and uncontrolled blood sugar levels, there is thickening, or the arteries become narrow, which makes again your over a period of time, which again makes your blood pressure to grow. It's same with the high cholesterol as well. If you have high cholesterol, there is thickening of your blood, and especially the bad cholesterols, VLDL, HDL, over a period of time, you tend to get high blood pressure because of the narrowing of the lumen of your blood pressure. It's same goes to the goes with the smoking. In smoking, nicotine, which is known to be uh, which is known it's like an substance abuse system, which overly activates your sympathetic nervous system. Over a period of time, your sympathetic nervous system gets numb, and it causes again your nerves to compromise in their functioning, and causes ill effects on your heart health. Obesity again, when you put on few more calories, it is an oval road for your heart to pump more blood, which causes again hypertension. And eating unhealthy, we will talk about eating unhealthy very detailed, because this presentation is all about what to eat and what to not to eat. So, in managing cardiovascular diseases and diabetes, what goes very important is your lifestyle management. Uh, Stress management is the number one. As yoga students, we know very well, because stress uh, disturbs your functioning balance between parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which leads to over secretion of your cortisol and other hormones, which is not good. And to manage the stress, the best way is yoga and physical activity. The solution is yoga, because lack of physical activity causes all the problems like obesity, which leads to hypertension, and it is related to diabetes as well. So, before talking what foods to eat, we shall know what to not to eat. So, when a patient comes to you and asks you, Doctor, I have diabetes, Doctor, I have hypertension, how do you think as a doctor to give them a diet? So, they are they don't want to know what to not to eat, they just want to know what to eat, because they think like if they're eating healthy food, if you give them a plan like eat this in the morning, they do eat that, but they won't be skipping the actual foods which are causing the problem. So it's very important to know what to not to eat before knowing what to eat. Sugar, the first main culprit is sugar. So what happens in diabetes is all about sugar. When I say sugar, it's not just the cupful of teaspoons of sugar, or it's not just sweet in which you eat sugar. Sugar is all the free monosaccharides which you get in food. What do you mean by all free monosaccharides? When we eat food, it has like complex sugars. It has carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and fiber. So when you take a cup of Coke, it has free sugars, which means it doesn't have any other complex carbohydrates. As soon as you drink a cup of Coke, uh, as soon as it enters your stomach, it's going to produce. There's no much digestion involved in that, and your body is producing sugar immediately. And as soon as your body is producing sugar, your body will be shocked, because diabetes is all about high sugar levels in your blood. So so you drank a cup of Coke, and your body immediately is loaded with lots of sugar, and it enters into your bloodstream. So lots of sugar in your bloodstream is bad, and your brain signals your pancreas to secrete insulin, because when there's free sugar circulating in your system, it's a bad signal. Your brain signals your pancreas to secrete lots of insulin, so that all the sugar can be used by your cells. Because there's too much of the sugar, all the cells cannot use all the sugar. They're going to insulin is secreted a lot. So your pancreas secretes lots of insulin to take that sugar, and all the sugar is not going to be used by your body, because you don't need that much energy. It's going to be stored in your liver in the form of glycogen and other organs over a period of time, uh, which causes fatty liver and other problems. So that's how sugar affects your body. You don't need that much amount of sugar. Even the white flour is going to do nothing but white flour is nothing but the most processed form of the wheat. It's maida, basically. It's maida. uh, it's going to give you nothing but free sugars, which are very bad. Talking about processed foods are nothing but all the bakery items. Um, what do you mean by processed foods? Processed foods are anything. So you take wheat. Wheat in its original form is a whole food. When you mean a processed food, they make bread and all the bakery items like donuts and stuff with bread. So what are they going to when you mean, what do you mean by processed food? They're going to take that bread, they're going to take that wheat, remove all the uh, important fiber, and keep all the inner part, which is nothing but maida, which is mostly simple sugars, and it's very high in gluten. I'm going to talk about gluten very soon. um, so what happens, and they're going to fry them in oil, which adds trans fatty acids to them. These which is very bad again. I would say it's mostly like a slow poison to your body, because white flour on its own contains nothing but free sugars and gluten, and when they fry them in oil, they become rich in trans fatty acids, and it's no good for health. So it's very important for us to educate our patients what not to eat. Ask them not to eat sugar, and ask them not to eat white flour, and ask them not to eat processed foods. And if you want to understand what's processed food, basically anything that comes in a label or a box with a barcode and lots of ingredients are banned. And gluten. What is gluten? Gluten-free diet is very trend these days, because people have come to know that they're allergic to gluten. So what is gluten and where do you find it? Gluten is nothing but if you take wheat and if you remove all the outer part of the fiber, what you have is the wheat flour, which they make, the wheat flour that's used to make rotis. And the industries further remove the coat of that wheat flour, and the innermost part is the maida, which they use to make all these bakery items, that is rich in pure gluten. Gluten, it has as the name suggests, it is very gluey and sticky like substance. And when it goes into your stomach, it's going to stick in the intestines as it has zero fiber. And it's going to sit in your intestine for good amount of days, causing constipation. So gluten is the main culprit for your constipation. And coming to fatty acids, what are trans fatty acids? Uh, so you'll know uh, polyunsaturated fatty acids are nothing but oils. Like vegetable oils are rich in vegetable oils are form of polyunsaturated fatty acids, which uh, I mean, we study in our textbooks that polyunsaturated oils are good in um, omega-3 fatty acids. They're good for your health. They're like good form of fats which you can add in your foods. But I don't think and the current research states otherwise. They say that vegetable oils are not very good for your health. Why? Because vegetable oils cooked ones vegetable oils on their own form are processed. Because when you take a vegetable or a nut, as in you take sunflower oil, you take cottonseed oil, you take palm seed oil, they extract the oil from them, and for them to remain uh, s- uh, good for a long time. I mean, when you extract oil from the seeds, they tend to get rancid. They get rancid easily. So for them to stay very pure, they're going to process them, add some chemicals so that they don't get rancid easily and stay longer. That's what you're going to get in your bottles of sunflower oil and vegetable oils. So what happens when they process them, and when you are going to heat your food, fry your food in them, they change the oil into fatty acids, which is very bad for your heart, because it's going to in turn increase your cholesterol level in your body, and again which leads to other problems like fatty liver, hypertension. All are related in a cycle. Coming to, so what are good? If you ask me, like, what are good, saturated oils or polyunsaturated oils? Well, trans fatty acids comes when you heat unsaturated fatty acids. So that trans fatty acids are banned. And if you ask which is good, saturated fatty acids or polyunsaturated fatty acids, I would suggest saturated fatty acids are better. Saturated fatty acids, as in ghee and butter. They say saturated fatty acids are not bad. That's what you study in your textbooks. But saturated fatty acids have been there from ages before, like maybe since cows are there, they've been there, but not polyunsaturated fatty acids. They have come recently since 100 years, 150 years after industrial revolution have started. So if you would like to suggest a little bit of want to cook in your food, a little bit of butter, a little bit of ghee, not in high quantities. You need certain amount of fats in your diet. Make them as your priority. Coming to red meat, um, I think in India we don't tend to take a lot of red meat, but certain parts of the country do take red meat. But in West here, they take a lot of red meat, which is highly processed. So red meat is nothing but the animal meat, like the cow or pork, anything that's anything, all the meat that extracted from the animals. that you get them packed and neatly here in all the supermarkets. What are they going to do? So if you cut a piece of meat and keep it in outside or your fridge, it's going to rot. But here the meat stays fresh with all the color, for God knows the shelf life of it is for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So what they're going to do is when they like when they collect all the meat, they are going to add very, very bad chemicals. This is what is happening in the meat industry here. They take pork, they take beef, they add chemicals to make sure it's going to stay there for a very long time. And especially the color, the main culprit is when you take the meat, they boil the meat and they add chemicals so that it's going to stay there, but the color of the meat is going to be brown and black, which people don't like. So further, for the color to for it to look attractive, they're going to add more chemicals to look all pink. And all the chemicals which they are adding are known to be cancerous, and hence the red meat is known as carcinogenic agent. And also red meat has zero fiber. If you eat red meat, it's going that people say that it's a good source of protein, but it's going to stay in your intestine for 9 days. For a person who doesn't drink proper amount of water and doesn't eat good amount of fiber in his food, red if you tend to take red meat for once, it's going to sit in your intestine for 9 days, rotting, putrefying, and it's the number one cause of colonic cancer. And our last culprit is salt. Well, salt, to some extent, salt doesn't do you any harm unless if you take an recommended dietary use. But unfortunately, everybody, almost 90% of the people, exceed the recommended dietary allowances of the salt. And salt tends to harden your blood vessels, and increased salt tends to dehydrate you, increase the blood viscosity, again causing you hypertension and other problems. So these are the foods to avoid before advising what foods to eat. Now, coming to discuss about what to eat, eat plant-based diet. So anything that comes in the form of natural, you can eat it as it is. All raw, be it all green vegetables, you can take them and make it in form of salads and eat them. And if you find any vegetables like cauliflower and other complex vegetables, you can don't overcook them in uh, too much oil and stuff. You will need to stick to our old ways of, we don't have a lot of oil and stuff in the olden days. They used to make foods by boiling. So stick to the old methods, boil them, and try to cook, try to take them in their natural form and cook as less as possible and eat them. And eat single ingredient foods. What do you mean by single ingredient foods? So nowadays, you take anything, be it a pack of bread, you see the ingredients, you will see more than 10 to 12 ingredients in them. So they take bread, they take wheat, they are going to process it, they are going to add chemicals, they're going to remove them of all the vitamins, because uh, when they have a complex vitamins, they cannot add chemicals to which help in preserving them. So they're going to remove all the natural sources of good essential vitamins and all the fiber. They add the chemicals so that the wheat is going to stay for a long time. And then emulsify foods and they fortify the foods, and then they add lots of other vitamins. That's what they say. When you see a package, you see a lot of things like vitamin D, vitamin B12. So they are fortified foods. Fortified foods are good, but they are not as good as which are available in natural forms. As in, when you eat your vegetable or your fruit, you get your vitamins in your natural form. Or if you take orange juice or any other juice in the form of a bottle, it says vitamin D, vitamin D, vitamin B12, etc. The fortified foods are not as effective as the natural form of foods. So that's why we say always stick. When you take something, anything in the natural form, make sure you are eating, make sure that you have as less as ingredients possible. As in, if you take bread, all you need to have is wheat. That's all. That's how you should try to understand in order to understand how less processed the foods are. And make sure whatever you eat, make sure you have high fiber content. 30 grams of fiber is daily recommended dose. And um, I would say in UK, less than 10% of population reach that dietary goal. As in, people don't take fiber in their food because they are not aware of it. So try to take fiber-rich foods. Fiber-rich foods, again, are whole foods. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important. So you can, the best way to take vitamin D is nothing but to take supplements, because nobody goes in the sun these days because summer is too hot. And here in UK, there's no sun in winter. So the best way to get your vitamin D dose is take supplements. And nurture your gut microbiota. I'm going to talk about gut microbiota in very detail, but maintaining your gut microbiota is very, very important in maintaining your uh, heart health, which again benefits maintaining your metabolic health and keeping you safe from diabetes. Water, I'm going to talk very in detail about water as well, and vitamin K2. So vitamin K2 is known to decrease the effects of hardening of blood vessels in your body. So diabetes hardens and narrows your nerves, and in hypertension, your blood vessels are narrowed. Vitamin K2 is known to decrease those effects, and especially for people who have hypertension or cardiovascular disease, taking vitamin K2 supplements helps to deteriorate their condition further. So water, this will be very interesting topic for you. Well, this slide doesn't have much of research, but this is something I found very interesting and from a conventional naturopath practitioner. So, as essential hypertension could be a result of chronic dehydration. What do you mean by chronic dehydration? Dehydration is your body is not getting enough amount of water. Chronic dehydration is your body is not getting enough amount of water for a very long time, uh, for more than 2 months, 3 months. Over a period of time, your body is dehydrated. Uh, So they say that the normal hypertension, which we are seeing these days, is chronic dehydration could be the major cause of that. I'm going to explain why is it so. So normally our blood vessels co with fluctuations of blood volume as required by various tissues. So our blood capillaries, there's always, that's called principle of hydraulics. So there's the flow of blood volume is always regulated by your blood capillaries. So we have our blood capillaries and the blood flow through them. The blood flow is always regulated by the blood capillaries in a way. For example, for you to understand it better, when we eat meal, all the blood tends to go to our stomach region and making certain blood capillaries close so that all the blood is diverted to your stomach and all the energy is used for the digestion, which is caused of that's the major reason why you feel little lethargic immediately after eating food. So what happens here is capillaries are designed to close and open as needed to adjust with the blood volume. Blood volume regulation is very important. So blood flows in our blood capillaries, and lumen is the innermost lining of your blood capillaries. So when your certain tissue of your body requires attention, so like I said, digestion, the blood capillaries in the other region closes, which the process is called stunting. So the stunting process is very much essential for regulating the volume, blood volume in the body. When there's chronic dehydration, what happens is,
Ma'am, sorry for interrupting in between. But due to technical issues, I would like to ask all the participants to rejoin using the same link, ma'am.
no problem. But can I continue, or do I need to wait for some time?
Rejoin using the same link, ma'am. Yeah, the meeting will be ending in few minutes, so you can join using the same link, the previous link itself.
Okay. Is when your body needs attention in certain area, your blood vessels are designed in such a way that the other areas that are where the blood is not ready, very much needed, then the lumen tend to close so that this will be but that's a natural form of adaptation. But what happens in chronic dehydration is your cells tend to shrink because there's no required amount of um, there's no required amount of fluid in your cells. Your cells tend to shrink, and over a period of time, to cope up with the blood volume regulation, 66% of your it takes the from the intracellular fluid, 66% of the fluid is taken. Even further, 26% of fluid is taken from your extracellular fluid. And even further, if we are not giving our body enough amount of water over a period of time, 8% of fluid is transferred from the blood vessels. So what happens is, even though if you're not giving your body enough water, your lumen closes just to compensate the water loss in your body. The closing of lumen is nothing but when the lumen is narrowed, and when the blood volume, blood flows in the blood vessels, it's nothing but hypertension, right? Because the pressure over the blood vessels increases. So what I'm saying is basically, if you're not giving your body proper water over a period of time, it increases the blood viscosity and your blood shrinks. To cope up with the blood water shortage in your body, the lumen closes and further increases the hypertension. And also how dehydration affects over a period of time is, as your cells are not getting proper water, I mean, they can't function in their optimal level, and whatever work they're supposed to do, they're not doing it, and they're only half working, which keeps you feel tired over a period of time. And if you want to do multiple tasks, be it running or your body to cope up with that, and that's when you feel lethargic, tired, not able to do so. What I'm trying to say in this slide is chronic dehydration. The author actually says that you can treat essential hypertension just by hydrating your body over a period of time. Well, this might give you all the question, like how much water am I supposed to drink? How much water is somebody supposed to required amount of water for the body? But they say for active women, you're supposed to drink 3 to 4 liters of water, and for an active male who does a lot of exercise, he supposed to the same for everybody again. In traditional class books, 50 pounds of your body, you're supposed to drink 1 liter of water. As in, for example, if you're 60 kgs, you're supposed to drink somewhere about 2.75 liters. That's the math. So for every 50 pounds of your body weight, you need to drink 1 liter. As in, if you are obese, the amount of water you need to drink increases drastically. So the the heavier you are, the more body requires water to function. I hope you all get the importance of water. So I would also want to emphasize the importance of water in saying that how many of you all drink enough amount of water as required for your body? Like I said, now for every 50 pounds of your body weight, you should drink 1 liter of water. For example, in our age, everybody will be around 60 to 70 kilos. 50 to 70 kilos, that will be 2.5 to 3 liters of water. How many people are drinking that amount of water? And how many people are experiencing conditions like headache, skin problems, dry hair fall? All these problems can be addressed just by drinking required amount of water. Trust me, because I work in a clinic where people come, the major problem is constipation and skin problems. We treat them majorly just by asking them to drink a required amount of water. And if a patient comes to you, you're not supposed to ask them to drink 4 liters of water at a time. Slowly increase over a period of 2 weeks. And when there's consistent, so chronic dehydration is deprivation of water for a very long time. That's why your body was trying to cope up with so much, and it was not able to, and it caused certain conditions like bit headache, thirst, dyspepsia, and various symptoms. If you are giving your body enough water for a very long time, it slowly tends to reverse back all its symptoms and make the body to function in an optimal way. So it's very, very keen to drink water, guys. Before telling, I want you all to experience how it works for you. So try it and see how beautiful it is. So I'm going to tell you very quickly example of my one of my patient. So she was due to some autoimmune disorder, she was taking steroids, which constipated her for more than 2 weeks. So she had no bowel movement for 2 weeks. And she came to the clinic and she had colonic irrigation continuously every alternate day for 3 days. And she's like, look, I can't come and I'm not able to go to the loo at home because of the steroids. And I can't come take a colonic irrigation every alternate day. Please, can you please give me some other solution? So all I told her to do is drink 4 liters of water every day. For her body weight, she was supposed to drink 3 liters, but I advised to drink 4 liters of water and be consistent with it. Be whatever it is, drink 4 liters of water for 2 weeks continuously. And now she comes to the clinic back saying like, that was a miracle, doctor. She's like, I'm able to go to toilet every day and my skin improved. I stopped taking my steroids and it kind of improved her mental health. I'm just saying that when you experience these kind of stories, you will understand the importance. And after those things happen, I myself, I used to drink water a lot, but after seeing how positively it's affecting, I started drinking more water and hydrating myself. So going to next. I'm just talking about sleep. When you say how sleep affects your body, it's mostly about the circadian rhythm. So your body has a clock, biological clock in your brain, which regulates your sleep, and your circadian rhythm just it doesn't regulate just not sleep, but it regulates your food pattern and how well your liver functions as well. So if you are sleep deprived, it causes various problems, and how this slide explains how sleep deprivation can cause diabetes. So if you're sleep deprived, it causes decreased brain glucose utilization. It also improves your sympathetic activity over a period of time, increasing altered rhythm of your cortisols and growth hormone. Growth hormone is mostly secreted when you are asleep. If you have no sleep, its secretion is affected, and which in turn over a period of time causes increased inflammatory markers, which in turn causes decreased beta cell function and increased insulin resistance, which is nothing but hypertension which is nothing but hypoglycemia and type 2 diabetes. Also, when you have no sleep, your hormones leptin decreases and ghrelin increases, which controls your appetite. And increased appetite, you tend to eat a lot at night because you're not sleeping, which again causes obesity, because eating at night, you don't utilize that glucose and it tends to get stored in your fat, and again causes fatty liver, obesity, increased insulin resistance. There you go, you have diabetes again. So make sure you take care of these things like hydration, and is your before advising them what to eat, make sure your patient is sleeping properly and drinking enough water. Coming to our main focus of your diet, what am I supposed to eat if I'm having hypertension or cardiovascular disease or diabetes? So there are lots of diet trends in the Western world here right now. So I'm not going to discuss about all of these, but yeah, there's paleo diet where they focus on whole foods. They tend to eat meat, fish, which is less processed, egg and all, like mainly single ingredient foods, less processed, raw salads. And vegan diet, you might be knowing, they don't take any form of animal foods. So no yogurt, no honey, no any animal fats, and low fat diet, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, I'm going to talk about it in detail very further. Eight stop eight is like they tend to eat continuously for certain period of time and they stop, which I don't recommend. And low carb diet, it's mostly like calorie restricted diet. Gluten-free diet is very famous in the West, because people are knowing that they're allergic, all the problems in the gut like acidity, bloating is caused because of gluten. They are getting that like there are tests coming just to check if you are intolerant to gluten, and if you're intolerant, stay away from gluten and you're free with all the problems, bloating and stuff. Dairy free is nothing but the vegan diet. Primal diet, you eat almost everything. Vegetarian diet, and carb, and eat anything, like you eat everything. So what I'm going to focus today is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is highly on trend these days here, because it is known to have like various benefits. In intermittent fasting, rather than to focus on what to eat, intermittent fasting is all about when to eat. We naturopaths knows what's fasting. Fasting is not eating anything. So intermittent fasting is periodically not eating anything. So you have different types of intermittent fasting. That's like 16/8 hours. It's not 16 hours eating and 8 hours fasting. It's 8 hours eating and 16 hours fasting. And there's one more kind of type of intermittent fasting. It's 24-hour fasting. So in this, what they do is it's basically like alternate day eating. They eat for 24 hours and they don't eat for 24 hours. And there's 12/12. This is kind of circadian rhythm regulating diet, basically, which we do all the time. I mean, if you follow a natural healthy life, sleep for the night, have early dinner and sleep for the night, that's what is 12/12. So you eat in 12 day, especially, not night. You can't design it in a way that is going to affect you in the night. So you eat 12 hours in the morning when there's sunlight, and you fast for 12 hours in the night. And periodic fasting is more like basic principles of naturopathy. It's like you eat normally twice a meal, and you fast once or twice in a week. That's what is periodic fasting. So benefits of intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting helps in resetting your circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm, the biological clock in our body. Please be mindful. Like if the time is over, please let me know. So circadian rhythm not only regulates your sleep pattern, it also regulates your food pattern. So the research is showing that eating in the morning is very much connected to improve your gut health, as in giving proper rest during night. It's a biological clock. And you also know in acupuncture, energy medicine, that you need night's rest, because that's when your liver is active to detoxify and do all its work to clean all the dump yard we ate in the morning. So it's very important to give that break to your body. So which we do in intermittent fasting, we give a break to our body for certain period of time for it to reset. So this is a famous quote: intermittent fasting can be helpful for weight loss, without following conventional bodybuilding diets, or for anyone who needs to learn the difference between body hunger and mental hunger. Mental hunger, which is very important. We should eat because our body needs energy. Nowadays, people don't know how much hungry they are when they're hungry and when they're supposed to eat, just because the reason for this is the processed foods, the simple sugars we dump into our body. Sugar is the number one addict. So because you're putting in a lot of processed simple sugars into your body, it doesn't need any time for your stomach to digest them. Boom, they give the sugar into your body just like that in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and your body will be shocked. Oh my god, why is there so much sugar? And it needs to store the sugar, and it goes to the liver to store it, and then fatty liver and stuff causes. So why I'm saying this is, when the sugar is stored, your body will again be deprived of sugar, which makes you crave for the food again, which gives you the false sense of hunger, and you again put something continuously for your digestive system too. So the problem with this processed food is they don't have fiber in them, which makes them quickly digest and increases sugar levels in your body and makes you feel hungry again and again. That's how it is giving you the false sense of hunger and making your body addict to it. So that's what it meant. That's what it means by mental hunger. Try to differentiate between body hunger and mental hunger. And when you do intermittent fasting, you will come to know how much your body needs food. And you will actually notice that you're able to function more better with less food. And benefits, further benefits of intermittent fasting, most of the prescribed, this is what the research is shown, most of the prescribed drugs for diabetes can get your HbA1c levels down to only 6.5%, which is diabetic, but you're managing your diabetes, but you still have diabetes. Whereas intermittent fasting have shown to decrease the HbA1c levels to 5%, which means you're no more a diabetic. If you are on insulin, be mindful. You should not put a person who is taking insulin directly on in intermittent fasting. But if you are on medications, you can easily alter them by altering the medicines, by altering your metformins and other medications. You can be mindful of when they're eating, and by doing intermittent fasting, you can get the HbA1c levels down very easily. And also the use of intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet. Quick note on ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diet, I'm going to talk about ketogenic diet very quickly for the next slide, is an effective and sustainable alternative to a standard care approach in the treatment of diabetes, type 2 diabetes. These are all randomized control. These are all the conclusions of the randomized control trials. Sorry, I did not give the references here, but I have added the references in the last slide. So, and intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet have shown to decrease your glycemic levels, and they're very much effective in weight loss. And so, one research study showed that the use of dietary these intermittent and ketogenic diet in coordination helps to eliminate the need for pharmacotherapy. As in, you don't have to, research says that you don't have to take medications if you properly take your diet. As in, with the help of intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet, it may be superior to the standard care of approach, which is now other medicines. And so Okay, I'm going to tell you the benefits of, like I said, I would add a quick note on ketogenic fasting. So when you fast for, let's take it for 16 by 8 intermittent fasting. So you are fasting for 16 hours and eating only for 8 hours. When you are giving that gap in the body, uh, your so there's no glucose store, no active glucose. So the glucose that is stored in your fat, those are triglycerides and your glycogen reserves burn down into fatty acids and glycerols, and your liver breaks down the fatty acids into ketones, and your body uses your ketones as the main source of energy. So they say a lot of ketones in the body is not good, but that's in ketoacidosis. Nutritional ketosis is very beneficial for your body. Nutritional ketosis improves your mitochondrial function. It also improves your circadian rhythm. It also improves your liver function, and the gap, it improves the autophagy. Autophagy is very important feature. I mean, you all know like how important is fasting for autophagy. Autophagy is nothing but during those periods of gap, your body eats your own bad cells. It's basically like cleaning the mess. Your body, your immune system kills all of the unwanted toxic cells which are being dumped by all the waste in your body, be it by food, be it by air pollution, or any sort of pollution. It's basically like detoxification happens during the intermittent fasting through autophagy. So I hope you understood the importance of ketogenic ketogenic diet, as in during those gaps, your body uses ketones as the main source of energy. Even your brain does that, which is very beneficial. And coming to my favorite topic, gut microbiota. I hope I'm not taking too much time. Um, so, in the current research states that gut microbiota is very much crucial in managing all of your cardiovascular diseases and your diabetes and whatnot. In naturopathy and Ayurveda, they say like constipation is the biggest cause of all the diseases. And in Ayurveda, there's also is saying that 80 to 90% of your diseases arise from your gut. So now the research is being conducted and to understand what that means. Gut microbiota is so when do we have to stop? Hello, Jahnavi, how much time do I have? Okay. I Are you all okay to stop and then start again? Will you be able to, if that's too long, it's all right. Hello?
We can do one thing. We will restart again. So we'll have again next 40 minutes with us because of Zoom issues. So I request everyone to manage with all of us, and sorry for the inconvenience. We'll restart again. within a minute. So you all can join with the same book.
Okay. So, gut microbiota, we haven't studied this much in our textbooks, right? But this is like the recent hot topic. Gut microbiota is nothing but the friendly bacteria in your gut, and they are known to, I don't remember reading them in any of my physiology textbooks or any of the such, but I think this part should be really added, especially to our naturopathy books, because we always say that eat more fiber and all, which is nothing but to improve your gut microbiota. So what is gut microbiota? Gut microbiota is nothing but the good bacteria in your intestines. What does good bacteria in your intestines do? So you know that the function of your good microbiota is they're helpful for digestion, but also recent studies have showed that 70% of the immunity is regulated by your gut microbiota via the gut-brain axis. Your gut, scientists have identified your gut as a second brain, as in it sends the signals. I'm going to talk how it does. So what happens apart from digestion of the food? What does this gut microbiota do? They produce various phenotypes and which are useful in regulating various metabolites. For example, one example of such a thing is trimethyl N-oxide phenylacetyl glutamine. This is one of the it's a phenotype of a metabolite in the gut. So these helps in regulating your blood levels and are associated with incident of cardiovascular risks in large-scale clinical studies. So basically what this means is your gut produces certain metabolites which are useful in regulating the cardiovascular health. If you in your gut, if they are, okay, how do I put it? If your gut microbiota is affected, those metabolites are not produced, which are useful in regulating your cardiovascular health. And this is, this is like the current ongoing research because this research started after the more of genetic research have started, because these are all genetic level researchers. Okay, I just want to share the next slide. How these are the next uses. Studies show that alternation in fecal microbial community compositions are associated with the development of obesity and insulin resistance, and that microbial transplantation could transmit heightened adiposity in the host, which means they say if you do not have good microbiota right from your early stage of life, be it for any reason, be it constipation or leaky gut syndrome or anything, you do not have a good microbiota right from your early stage of life, that showed that it causes insulin resistance, and there are higher chances of you developing obesity. And I'll tell you a very interesting research. Scientists have taken the fecal matter of healthy rats, healthy lean rats, and put them into the obese rats, which made the obese rats to lose weight, which showed that the microbiota that are present in healthy rats were enough to make the obese rats lean. So that's the importance of good bacteria in your body. And there's something called leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome is nothing but because of all these processed foods and all the lifestyle disorders, your intestinal walls become poorly regulated and they become weak. And what happens is all the good bacteria in your gut uh, starts leaking into your circulation. In your blood circulation, they are identified as toll-like receptors, nothing but they're like the foreign bodies, and it's like a red signal to your body. You're supposed to fight them. They're bacteria, they're not good for your body. So, which induces a pro-inflammatory action, which is the major reason. Leaky gut syndrome is the major reason for all inflammation that's happening in your body. So doctors don't understand you have hypertension, you take medication, but there's always some inflammation that's going to happen in your body. This leaky gut syndrome is the answer here. You control your leaky gut syndrome, you balance your microbiota, there's no inflammation. So there's also one interesting research that's going in US. If you are a healthy person who goes to toilet every day, who is having regular bowel movements, you sell your feces and you're going to get money, because they use that feces to analyze what kind of bacteria they have. If you have good bacteria, the more good bacteria you have, the more money you get. That's how important the gut microbiota is. And they have a number of good uses, not just in heart disease or diabetes. They are helpful in treating depression, liver conditions, and the research is still going on. So how do we maintain the gut microbiota? Probiotics are nothing but the capsule form of good bacteria, which are available as dietary supplements. And I'm not going to talk about any strains that are very much useful today, but you can give the supplements of good bacteria to your patients. But before doing that, make sure the patient's gut is clean. As in, if they're having constipation, if they're having leaky gut syndrome, if they're on antibiotics, even though you take probiotics, it's going to kill them. There's like no use. Make sure their gut is clean. Make sure they're drinking enough water, which helps them to regulate their bowel movements. Once their bowel movements are regulated, then they can take probiotics. Yeah, like I said, make sure they have no constipation, and fiber-rich foods. Your body cannot digest fiber. You don't need fiber, but apart from pushing all the waste matter, your gut bacteria needs fiber. Your gut bacteria digests the fiber to produce various phenotypes to live. Basically, your gut bacteria lives on fiber. That's why fiber is very important. And fermented foods like kimchi, I think dosa, but our dosas are plain batter again. But fermented yogurt and stuff like that. Japanese eats lots of fermented foods. Fermented foods are very good and rich in that good bacteria, which produces this natural. That's why Japanese population, the gut problems are very less. Colon-related cancer is also very less in them. So there are some probiotics like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. Lactobacillus is found in your small intestine, and bifidobacterium is found in your large intestine. And there are many more strains which are good for various reasons. Basically, when I said probiotics, those capsules will have these strains of lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, and all. And you're supposed to take them at night, because after eating food, because they're not going to kill them. Not immediately after taking food, but after 2 hours of taking food. So what affects the good bacteria in your gut is also yeast. Yeast is nothing but sugar. If you take too much sugar, yeast is nothing but bad bacteria in your gut. If there's a lot of bad bacteria, candidiasis is also a condition where there's a lot of bad bacteria in your gut. It kills your good bacteria, which is why if you have these conditions, you taking probiotics doesn't help. It's going to nullify and kill them. So manage your yeast overgrowth and candidiasis. And when I'm in toxic dentistry, you can ask your patients if they have any metal dental fillings, because your metal mercury fillings, nowadays no dentist is doing that, but in the olden days they used to have this silver colored dental fillings that's filled with mercury amalgam, which is a heavy metal, which is gonna trigger yeast overgrowth and which causes bloating and craving for more sweet and a lot more problems. So in elderly patients, if you tend to find them, make sure they remove them. It's very crucial, because over a period of time, it's gonna poison their blood. They used to do this process called chelation. That's intravenously they give vitamin C and stuff to remove that heavy metal in your body. But nowadays, nobody is doing that. So it's important to make sure they don't have any dental fillings if your patient is coming with a lot of gut related problems. And make sure there are no parasites in your gut. If there are parasites in your gut, they're going to eat all your good bacteria. And these are some references, mainly randomized controlled trials, which I've taken my slides from. Thank you so much, guys. I know I've taken way more time than I'm supposed to, but this is just, I wanted to go through, and I was not given any certain topic to talk about, but I just try to cover all the important stuff that that's helpful in managing CVD and diabetes. Thank you. And if you have any questions, you can ask, others can leave.
Yeah, participants can unmute themselves and ask the question, or else you can put up in the chat box as well. Until then, can you please tell about journey as a BNYS student? Earlier you were telling, like, in your days you weren't having webinars and all. So how was it when you were a BNYS student?
Yeah, our BNYS was mostly about like the traditional kind of BNYS. Teachers used to come do the lectures, and we used to not even refer a lot to the research papers. Importance of research I came to know when I was doing masters. So I think that it's different with you guys, right? You guys are referring a lot to research papers because you wanted to. I do emphasize for all of your BNY students to go through research papers. It helps you to keep your knowledge up to date. So there are a lot of things which we are studying in our textbooks, which are actually, I mean, the research is telling that they're not good, like I said, in case of saturated fats. So I would want you to try to get into that habit of reading papers. That's really, really helpful. So my journey, BNYS was very good. SVIASA, I had a very, well, SVIASA do emphasize a lot about yoga. I would say I had really good experience with learning about yoga in my BNYS. After coming out of BNYS, I worked 1 year in Mantana, which is a very normal naturopathic set of hospital where I got very good experience on fasting and eating raw diet. I think many people go to Mantana to do their internships, right? Not everybody, but few colleges do send them to Mantana for internships. Try to learn the importance of fasting. Like, you can just take few, I know people do fastings for like 40 days, 50 days there. which is really, really amazing. As a naturopathy doctor, you would want to make your patients do something like that to get a real good result, right? So I would want you also learn about that. And after coming to my master's here, which was during COVID, and it's horrible, I would say. I came to do my master's to get more clinical knowledge on diabetes, because I used to deal a lot of patients with diabetes, with many other complications in Mantana. I just felt I do lack the knowledge there, so I came all over from India to UK to learn that. And frankly speaking, I didn't get to learn much about that because of COVID. I couldn't go to hospitals because you're not allowed to and all. But research wise, I got really good experience. My project was on probiotics and prebiotics in liver diseases, where I got to know the importance of gut microbiota and all. It's a whole new thing for me. But I would really want, I hope something they add this topic to your education, because it's very important when it comes to how you treat your patients clinically, managing your gut microbiota. And now I'm currently working in a clinic and as a freelance acupuncturist. It's all going on.
Thank you for sharing your experience, ma'am. So today we had a wonderful session. Thank you for giving that. And totally, it was very interesting topic. And so since you are you have done masters in diabetes as well. When we talk about diet and all, people always tend to tag with just weight loss, and they will be surprised to know that we can manage certain complicated disease as well through diet. So there will be a shocked expression. So what your take on that one?
Um, how would I put it? Over here in UK and West, it's not a shocking expression, because people have accepted that if you are lean and if you eat healthy, it's going to help you. So, but in India, how do you convince them? I think the more problem they have, that's when they're going to take a healthy diet. In India, it's mostly like people want to take medication and manage it that way. They don't want to practice a healthy diet. It's a problem for them. So I think the more problem they have and the more vexed up they are, that's when they're going to know the importance of weight loss and diet. Because once they do it, if you are a diabetic if you are a diabetic or hypertension patient, you lose a few pounds, as in you lose few kilos, 2-3 kilos, be it. You will know the difference in your body. So they don't know until they lose their weight. It's like that. So we as naturopaths should make sure they lose the weight, and then you don't have to do anything. They will see the difference by themselves. It's
Thank
a
you,
little
ma'am.
bit difficult in motivating them, but it's
So thank you, ma'am, and I thank all the participants for taking time and joining us. And before we end the session, I would request Dr. Lakshmikant to speak a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Asha, for giving your valuable time to us and sharing your valuable learning. I'm very happy to, we spent all together in our college days, being classmates. We know what all that we learned, and very happy to see the great learnings in your masters, and sharing with all the thank you, OYG team, Janvi, Dr. Bhavit, and other core members for organizing these sessions and taking your time to, bring up our system more better. So it's the way to go forward in terms of Research, yes, that's where we were lacking initially, but now it's very great to see people and young students who are passing out, taking to MD and going to other countries and mastering in a few subjects. It's very, very important, as rightly Dr. Asha put things in a right way. No diet alone can give you any good result. It's a combination of the lifestyle modifications that we do, food, physical activity, yoga, in terms that the balanced diet is the best diet, as she was rightly telling. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmikant sir, and thank you, Dr. Asha ma'am. So on behalf of OYG, I thank all the participants and the speaker as well.
Thank you. See you guys.